meeting to order at 10:31 a.m. And if you'll all join me with the Pledge of Allegiance, I appreciate it. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America, to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you, everybody. And if we can get an adoption of this agenda. Nobody wants to start the meeting?
I'll make a motion to adopt the agenda for July 23rd, 2024 as submitted.
Thank you, Susan.
I'll second.
Thank you, Ron. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. All right, it's not a real daunting agenda today. It's all consent except for one item. So does anybody need anything pulled from the consent agenda? Excuse me, before we take action? Hearing none, I'll entertain a motion for the consent agenda.
I'll make a motion to approve the consent agenda items for July 23rd, 2024 as submitted.
Thank you, Susan. Thank you, Sandy. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? That motion carries as well. So now we move into our action items. Excuse me, part of my healing process here. I apologize. Anyway, action item 3A, to request for approval of financial reports as presented by Executive Director of Business Services, Mr. James Scott. So good morning, James.
Good morning. Thank you, Board President, board members. You have in front of you the June 24 Business Office Report. You may notice a little bit of a different format, but it's the same information that's been provided to you in years past. The company that we were utilizing that generated the monthly report for the board had a significant increase in their costs, and so we kind of looked internally, and we also reached out to neighboring districts to see how they were doing it, and this is essentially what they were doing versus paying that cost. So again, it's the same information, it's just presented a little bit different. If you have any questions about the presentation, I'd be happy to answer those at this time. Or if you want it to look different, you can work with Dr. Remendini and I, we can make those adjustments too. Are there any questions about the new board report format or?
It's Ron. I have a question on the dollar amounts there for the year. Are
Sure.
those updated after the budget came out, numbers, or is that from the estimates that we had before?
So this is for fiscal year June 30th, but ended the fiscal year, so it's not the new budget yet. So we were still operating in the old budget. That will be next month. I think that's what you're asking. But those numbers were the actual numbers. So like in the M&O for June, we spent $928,000. Year to date was roughly 10.1. And with our encumbrances taken out, things that we still might possibly owe money for, our balance for the year was 2.3 million roughly. Does that answer your question?
Yes, it was my error.
Oh, no worries, no worries. No worries.
I didn't notice the top was 24 and 23 instead of 20, 24, 25. So
Totally get it. To be honest, I looked at it this morning, said I have FY23 on there, and I was like, that's wrong. And then I was like, nope, that's right. It's right. FY23 should be on there. So I get it. It gets a little confusing sometimes, especially when we're getting ready to change. Also, POs, I added the POs listed, but I'll go ahead and review those with you really quick. We did pay over $10,000 to Interstate Mechanical. That was to replace 2 walk-in coolers. We paid over $10,000 for Precise Sign Company. That was for a marquee that was installed at Festival Foothills. And Tucson Playground Equipment was for improvements at the playground for Festival Foothills Elementary. You may also know some unique payroll vouchers. We had a performance stipend paid, and then teacher summer pay was paid out. Otherwise, we are in compliance. As you can see, our budget balances are positive, and we had no surprises that we had to worry about. We're not anticipating any.
Beautiful. Anybody else have questions or comments for James? Hearing none, we can entertain that motion.
Where is it?
I will make a motion to approve the financial reports as submitted.
Second.
Okay, all in favor?
Aye.
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 Opposed? That motion carries. Now we fall into our action item 3B, which is the ASBA 2024 legislative delegate. Has anybody perused this enough that they want to take on the delegate position? This can be done virtually or in person. Wow. Or, as I had conversation with Dr. Remendini yesterday, we don't have to send somebody. There's not a law that says we have to. So if Wickenburg wants to go unattended this year, we can. It's been done in the past, but I'm not an advocate of that. But anyway, sometimes
I mean, there's a chance I could go. I just can't commit 100%. So if you wanted to list me, I'm just not sure what repercussions there are. Barbara, are there any? If I no, okay.
no.
So, if I may, Mr. President, members of the board, Casey and I have registered. Casey registered 2 people for the conference. I do go to this annual conference, so I'll be there. Obviously, I cannot serve as a delegate, but we do have a placeholder, both a hotel and a place in the conference if somebody wants to attend that in person. I think we could pull that back pretty quickly. We have over a month to do that. The delegate assembly this year is virtual. I think those of you who've been to that event are familiar with how those voices are heard in that huge room of people. So I'm not sure that, I'm not going to make judgments or make recommendations, but I'm not sure that somebody attending that virtually and hearing the conversation is going to have any more likelihood of being heard than if you're there in person. Now, it depends on who goes and what kind of platform or whatever, but this is really just that very first line of the ASBA is setting their legislative priorities for the upcoming legislative session, and won't even be voted on as a final until later. So Susan, to answer your question, I think if we have you down as a placeholder and then you can't go, then I believe we can get a refund, or we could just simply enroll you as a virtual attendee, and there is no cost for a virtual attendance. All of you could go as a virtual, all of you could log in virtually.
Any discussion on having Susan be the placeholder in there? Or potential attendee?
I think it's great.
Well, let's hear how great it is and make a motion.
I just don't know where I'm going to be, with my hip.
That's,
So I don't want to commit to anything right this minute.
but you can make the motion for this one. That was a great idea.
Okay. I move to have Susan Webster as, are you wanting to be a person, in person or virtual, Susan?
That's fine. Just put me in person.
Okay. I move that we have Susan Webster represent us at the ASBA. And well, I don't have anything in front of me because I can't get it up on the computer. So I don't know what the date is.
September 7th.
On September 7th, 2024.
Second.
All right. Thank you, Sandy. Thank you, Ron. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? That motion carries. Thank you, Susan, and hopefully you can attend and make our voice heard. So now we move on to informational items, which is items for future agendas. Anybody have anything to throw out for this topic?
Mr. President, this is Barbara. If I may just give the governing board a little bit of a heads up, we're having a hard time finding a time for what would have been our summer retreat. There are obviously some topics on that agenda that are closing out last school year and leading into this school year. So on my update this week, I'll propose another alternative for that summer retreat to try to get it held before the end of September. And remember, that is a public meeting. The public has never shown interest in those retreats, but they're certainly welcome to attend. But we'd like to get those on a future agenda as soon as we can find a good time to do that.
Okay. Anybody else?
I just wanted to say I was talking to Christy Henson, and I couldn't remember if it was open to the public. I thought it was, but I wasn't sure. But she has some ideas about FFA that she would like to talk about. So if we come up with a date, I will approach her and see if she wants to come and address us.
Oh, okay. That might be best handled through the high school. Would you like, Ms. Gill, would you like me to reach out to Christy?
If you want to.
Okay.
Yeah, I think that's a good idea.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it's kind of like circumventing the principal if she just comes directly to us.
Right.
FFA is part of high school.
Yeah, I know that.
I know, I'm just saying, but yeah.
I believe she's out of town right now. She's on vacation, just an FYI.
Yeah. Okay.
So Barbara, you'll reach out to her then?
Absolutely.
Okay, great, thank you. All right, anybody else? Okay, announcements in our calendar. You've seen that, had a chance to peruse that. Any comments or anything on that?
Mr. President, there is a typo on the 3-month calendar. It lists our August 27th meeting as being August 23rd. It's simply a typo. We have that August 27th meeting as a placeholder to give us time to update the budget prior to the September 15th board meeting. And with Labor Day, that in the timing of the September board meeting, that is the date that we'll do a telephonic board meeting at 10:30 a.m. on August 27th. The calendar is correct. It's that one with all the pictures that Casey does for us to keep us on track.
Gotcha. Thank you for that.
She will send an update to the board at the end of this meeting.
Okay. Very good. Thank you for that. And let me see where we're at. I think we're at our favorite place.
I'll make a motion to adjourn.
Second.
All right. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Didn't think so. All right. So hearing that, motion carries. And thank you, everybody, for your time. And now I got to get back to work.
Thanks, Jeff.
Thank you, Joe.
Thank
Thank
you.
you, everyone.
Okay.